So once you have flattened the views like this and made it connect, what I would like you to do is to print it to an 11 by 17 sheet of paper. One way to do so is to draw a piece of paper. So down here I'm going to draw at 17 comma 11 inches, which is what the actual size of the paper would be. Okay, so this is a building that's the size of an actual paper related to that building. Since we cannot fit everything in here, we have two ways of going about this. We could shrink this building down and stick it in this little piece of paper, or we could explode the paper up, or make this paper bigger so that it'll fit around here at the specific scale. Okay, usually my practice is that I do not scale anything down of the building, because if I need to change this, like if I want to offset this 3 foot or something, I could still do that because it's 3 foot. If I scale the drawings down, or if I scale the building drawings down, then I would have to calculate every offset dimension there is. So generally in CAD, you want to keep everything, all the buildings, as its actual size, virtual actual size as possible. Okay, so instead I am going to go ahead and scale the paper up. Okay, so scale is the command. What do you want to scale? I want to scale this piece of paper. What's the base point? Base point could be anywhere, but I usually put it to this corner or any corner of this object. Don't ever put things way out in a place that's not referenced, because it's going to scale up, and it's going to scale up from that point of the cursor. So it might be way out off in space. So what we want to do is to scale it where we know the center of the scaling is. So that point right there. Now it says scale factor or first reference point. I'm not going to do a reference point because, well, I don't have one. This time I'm going to do a scale factor. Scale factor of an 1/8 inch scale is 96. So I'm going to type in 96, enter, and that's the size of my 17 by 11 sheet of paper right here. So if I center this up to the object, so making sure that everything fits, you know, if you could make it perfectly centered, that's the best way to do it. But it does fit. So from here, I'm going to print, or print, right? So it could go to File, Print, and then go through the print setup process. I'm going to print to a Rhino PDF first, so I could keep this file. Change the paper size to a tabloid, which is 11 by 17. Vector output is fine. Black and white is fine. You could print in color, it doesn't really matter. And then view output scale. So as I have it here, I have a 1/4 inch from the last time I printed, so I'm going to change this to 1/8 inch scale. Okay, and then select window. So I'm going to set this thing, and I'm going to select from that corner to that corner. Okay, and that should be correct. So if I go back to my scale factor, it didn't quite match, but again, I will put it back to 1/8 inch, which is down here. Okay, and preview shows that it will still fit. I don't know what happened over here, but I'm not going to worry about it too much at this point. So everything looks right. It's at 96 scale factor, and the margin position, as long as I have it in the center and I place this image in the center, I should be okay. Centered, position centered, I should be fine. Line types, line width, I'm just going to keep it as scale by 1. Doesn't really matter at this point, because all I really want is this image to show up. But keep it at 1 and we should be fine. Hairline default of width is okay, and visibility, I don't think that's going to affect us any, but everything that you want printed should be on there. We're not printing clipping planes or anything. We're not printing a background. The locked object, some of these objects might be locked depending on whatever you have here. If you inadvertently locked something and it's on in this layer, it might not show up. So I'm just gonna keep that in the setting and then say print. And I am going to name it whatever it is and save it. And what should happen is right on the my object, it should be here. From this, I am going to print file print. This is from the PDF Adobe PDF Reader. Set the paper size, or I'm sorry, the printer. Select the 11 by 17 printer, and the preview pretty much shows that it is that. One thing to be careful about: make sure that it doesn't say fit. Make sure that it is actual size, because we printed it to a scale, right? So since we printed it to a scale, if we put it to fit, it might shrink down a little bit to fit the piece of paper. We don't want that to happen. Just print to actual size. Whatever falls off the edge, you know, I don't care. Basically, you know, the corners might get cut off if you get it too close to the edge or something, but you know, it's a straight line, so you can kind of guess where it's gonna intersect, right? Where it's gonna meet. So anyways, everything else seems fine. Auto rotate, and then we'll print it, and it should have gone to the physical printer. I'm sure many of you do not have an 11 by 17 printer at home, so for this process you will have to print here. All right. So after you print this thing on 11 by 17 paper, we're going to cut this out and make the box. Okay, and we'll do that physically after I collect my print.